Hello, it's Carl Brower, and I'm here to talk about the brand new McLaren W1. This is an important event in the supercar world, with the British automaker having just unleashed all the details and images of its new ultimate supercar. With 1,258 horsepower, 988 pound-feet of torque, a 3,200 pound curb weight, and a 217 mile/hour top speed, the W1 represents a new dimension in performance for both McLaren and the supercar segment. This level of McLaren supercar doesn't happen every day, or even every decade. The first time it happened was 1992, when the legendary McLaren F1 was unveiled. This car offered over 600 horsepower and weighed less than 2,800 pounds, giving the engine about 4.5 pounds to move around for each horsepower. This gave the McLaren F1 the best power-to-weight ratio of any street-legal supercar at the time. Between its performance and central driver's seat location, it remains a unique automobile. Only about 100 were made. It also happens to be my personal favorite car of all time. The next time McLaren introduced an Ultimate 1 model was 2013, when the McLaren P1 went into production. The P1 used a hybrid drivetrain to offer 903 horsepower while weighing about 3,400 pounds. So while it gained about 25% in curb weight over the F1, the P1 also gained about 50% in horsepower, giving it an even better power-to-weight ratio. The P1 only has to propel about 3.6 pounds for each of those 903 horsepower. Now comes the 2025 McLaren W1 supercar. The basic specs: 1,258 horsepower, 988 pound-feet of torque, a roughly 3,200 pound curb weight, and a power-to-weight ratio of approximately 2.5 pounds for each horsepower suggests stunning performance. McLaren is saying 0 to 60 will take 2.7 seconds, 0 to 124 will take 5.8 seconds, and 0 to 186, 12.7 seconds. The W1's top speed will be 217 miles per hour. The W1 is also supposed to offer over 2,200 pounds of downforce when it's traveling at 174 miles per hour. That downforce comes from a combination of aggressive aerodynamics and a body height that drops by 1.42 inches in front and 0.7 inches in the back when placed in track mode. The W1 also features a McLaren active long-tail rear wing, which can extend rearward up to 11.8 inches to assist with downforce. The W1 drivetrain starts with a 4-liter V8 engine making 916 horsepower. The engine is paired to a 44-pound radial flux e-motor making 342 horsepower. Now, I saw one of these e-motors in person when I was at the McLaren Artura lunch last year. And let me tell you, when you see something the size of a disc brake that can make this kind of power and have that kind of weight, it's truly mind-boggling. You have to see it to believe it, and it's going to really paint a picture of what the future of performance is going to look like, because pairing that lightweight and small of hybrid componentry into an otherwise internal combustion engine really does give you the best of all worlds with basically no penalty in terms of weight. A 1.38 kilowatt-hour battery powers that e-motor, and McLaren says that the hybrid componentry in the McLaren W1 has been reduced by 88 pounds compared to the former P1 supercar, yet they make twice the power as that car did. Speaking of power, the W1 sends all its power through an 8-speed automatic dual-clutch transmission to the rear wheels. Now, not going all-wheel drive probably is costing the W1 a couple tenths of seconds in both 0 to 60 and quarter-mile acceleration, but it's also keeping the car that much lighter, and it's improving the steering feel, which, by the way, this may be the most important feature of all on the W1, even more impressive than all the power and the horsepower to weight ratio. Hydraulic assisted power steering. Thank you, McLaren. I also want to talk about the styling of the W1 for just a second, because I really like it. First, if I have any complaint about McLaren's, it's the similarity of the styling across its model line. I get the concept of brand identity, but I'd like to see a bit more variety within the McLaren line. I think the W1 nails this. The car very clearly looks like a McLaren, but it also doesn't look like any other McLaren. To me, that's the ideal balance that any automaker, particularly a supercar brand, should strive for. Look at these headlights behind me. They're very cool, they look very powerful and very unique, but yet they pretty much look like McLaren headlights. It's ideal. So I feel like this covers the important highlights of the McLaren W1, but I gotta tell you, McLaren provided a 32-page deep dive press release on this car. And there's a lot of great information in here. It's pretty compelling reading. So much so that I was actually thinking of just reading the press kit to you. And then I realized I don't think anyone wants to hear my voice for that long. I know I don't. But there are a few highlights I do want to cover. So I'm going to go through 12 more points, get ready. New McLaren Race Active Chassis Control 3 suspension with race mode ensures unparalleled breadth of capability across both road and track. What you hear when you read through the full press kit is that this car is supposed to be really good about being amazingly capable on a track and yet amazingly livable and comfortable and roadworthy on the road. Supreme feel and feedback from McLaren hydraulic performance steering and hydraulic braking to create real supercar sensation. Yes, again, thank you. That deserves a double thanks. Hydraulic assisted steering. They know what they're doing. New 8-speed transmission with e-reverse coupled with a new hydraulic electronic differential. So this will be the thing where when you're going in reverse, you're using the motor. You're always using the motor and not the internal combustion engine. Bespoke McLaren Aerocell carbon fiber monocoque and McLaren anhedral doors optimized for aerodynamic performance, constructed using motorsports techniques. Formula One inspired front suspension is mounted directly into the Aerocell with externally visible front arms and key components 3D printed for weight optimization, including the use of titanium components. Unmatched supercar driver ergonomics and best-in-class visibility on road and track. It's going to be interesting to see. I wonder how they define class and good visibility, but it sounds good. Unique seating design integrated into the Aerocell monocoque for the purest driver connection to the road. Pedals, steering wheel, and primary controls move to fully embrace driver within the cockpit environment. Virtually unlimited bespoke options available via MSO, including new McLaren InnoKit tailored interior material. And I think that's what you're seeing in these press images that we're looking at. Comprehensive warranty, 4-year vehicle, 6-year hybrid battery, and 4-year service plan complement unique ownership experience. Pricing from around $2.1 million with the final cost dependent on the level of MSO personalization. Just 399 customer cars will be produced and all are already customer allocated. So if you had 2.1, well, by the time you customize it, 2.5 plus $1 million burning a hole in your pocket, sorry, you're gonna have to find another place to spend it. I hate it when that happens, don't you? So there you have it, an all-new crown jewel coming to the McLaren model line. I'd say based on its style, performance, and technology pedigree, it's in line with the previous two One cars, the F1 and P1 that came before it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing these things on the street when they arrive, hopefully as early as next year.